A 13-year-old girl killed in what appears to be an accidental shooting.
Young kids at home, guns, not a good combination. I mean, people have to get mad. I mean, you have to say enough is enough. Get a gun lock. If you're going to have a gun in your home, get a gun lock. The Detroit Police Department offers free gun locks. No questions asked.
A young boy and a young girl, they were in the basement of this house on the east side. They was two friends. She was 13, he was about 14. The father say, hey, you guys hungry? They say, yeah. So it was the winter. He put his coat on, his boots on. He said, I'll go get you guys a hot and ready. So he got in that car and he pulled off. Kids were left in the basement. There's a gun in that corner, shotgun. It's a rifle, so the boy grabbed it. He started aiming at the little bitty 13-year-old girl's face, and she said, boy, stop. He said, it's all right, stop. He looking at it, he playing with it, he's examining it. But this time was different. He grabbed it again and he pointed it at her face again, and he took his index finger, he put it in the trigger hole of that rifle, and he started squeezing. He started squeezing and squeezing, and pow! It did like any other gun would do. It went off. It fired. At that time, the father came home and he heard some commotion. He dropped the pieces. He ran downstairs and he saw this little bitty girl who had just got hit in the face by the bullets of a rifle, and she was on the ground bleeding profusely. He called 911. Police made it first because they were in the area. They didn't care about blood-borne pathogens or anything. They saw this 13-year-old girl laying on the ground. They were upset. They grabbed her. Who cares about those fluids? We need to get her to the hospital. They got her to the hospital. You had family that made it to the hospital. She's in the emergency room. Everybody in the family, they was all crying. A lot of them was on their knees singing and praying, and everybody just started coming and coming and coming and coming. And about 1 hour later, the doctors and the surgeons and the staff that was assisting this young girl, they all walked out to that waiting room. And they say, I'm so sorry, but we did everything that we could do. And they say, she just didn't make it that day. No more selfies, no prom, no wedding, no college, no 21st birthday, no 30th birthday, no more family reunions. It's all over with, it's all done, it's all gone. All because they chose to play with a gun. Okay, how old you are, we're gonna talk about what to do in case you find a gun. There's only two things that could come out of a kid and a gun: devastation or death.
EJ asked his mom if he could go play with friends on Monday, since they were out of school for a snow day. She said okay. He went to this house on Tireman to play video games with 3 teens he knew well. EJ's 13-year-old friend went to his grandmother's bedroom, found where she hides her gun, loaded it, and started playing with it. Police say they believe he then accidentally shot EJ in the back, killing him.
Kids are dying. What more do you have to do to encourage someone to put a gun lock on a gun?
And so what we teach kids is very simple: 4 things. Stop, don't touch it, run away, tell a grown-up. If you got a little bitty kid that live in a house with you, a little cousin or brother or sister, you need to tell them if they ever see a gun, stop, don't touch it, run away, tell a grown-up, call the police, call a fireman, tell somebody. Kids and guns don't mix.
The victim is 14 years old. His name is Fred Austin. This all went down around 7:30. That's when there was a report of shots fired. Fred was unfortunately shot to death behind a vacant house on Radnor by a 13-year-old. Right now, they're still trying to figure out exactly what happened, if this is some sort of argument or beef that started on Facebook, or if Fred Austin was accidentally shot.
You know, I was connected to the junior police cadets last year and this year. Last year was a junior police cadet named Reggie. And he was my site. I had a site at my precinct, and me and Reggie, I would take him home, and I was sitting, I would talk to him a lot. I had 5 cadets, but he just stood out the most. And why? Because he had this story. Reggie told me that earlier last year, like in February, he had been shot. He was going to Westside Academy. His mama pulled him out that school, and they put him in a school in Garden City. Everybody loved him. He was doing good. And then I got with him. He was a cadet. He would go with me to talk about gun safety. We would have lunch. It was just something about this kid.
17-year-old Reginald Robinson from Detroit, a senior at Cambridge High in Garden City, was shot and killed Friday night at approximately 6:30 p.m. Reginald was with his buddies inside this party store, 1 block down on Plymouth, when 2 women walked in. Reginald's buddy, Christopher, told investigators a man they didn't know made a disparaging remark about one of the women.
Somebody said, damn, she got a big booty, so we all started laughing. I guess she thought it was us.
Reginald and his buddies walked out of the party store. They walked 1 block to Plymouth and Myers when the 2 women from the party store drove up in a dark sedan.
I was right next to the car, but she moved a gun past me and pointed his way and shot.
They aimed at that little Reggie Robinson's face, and they pulled that trigger and shot him in his face, and he lost his life that day. This boy who was in this same room, in that same auditorium, got his life together. He was going to graduate this year, and now he's gone and ain't never coming back. This thing is serious. I'm sure somebody in the room got some family members who've been killed or shot. This is a real thing. Dr. Martin Luther King said that darkness can't drive out darkness. What? Only light can do that. Then he said hate can't drive out hate. What? Only love can do that. Peace and love. That's what we need to be spreading. Peace and love. God bless you guys. Thank you so much.